Welcome back, traders. Today we're going to talk about Cipher mining. I've covered this one in an earlier video. We're going to look a little bit more at the charts today. With such big moves, I'd like to establish some support and resistance levels and just some ideas of what I'm thinking when I look at the charts for this particular stock. What we're really looking at is the warrants, but I do want to cover the overall stock as well. And if you look at the warrants, they are quite impressive. In the last 5 days, we're up 280%. Well, that's even more impressive than the 1 month move. If we were in just 5 days ago, we have almost tripled our money. That is insane. What was it? It was trading for 36 cents on Wednesday of last week. And today we're trading at $1.35. It was as high as $1.80. You'll see on the other chart. It was nearly that high. What is the warrant? You can watch my previous video about Cipher Mining talking a bit about what the warrants are, but basically the warrant is you're buying the ability to purchase a share of Cipher Mining for, I believe it's $11.39 by August 26th. These expire August 26th. So on that date, these will no longer exist. And you can exchange them for Cipher Mining shares at $11.39 per share. If Cipher Mining is trading for less than $11.39 per share at or near this expiration date, then these are worthless. It's basically what it is. So they move wildly for now until we get closer to this date. The closer to this date we get, the less value these things will have depending on the price of Cipher Mining stock at that time. So let's take a look here. One reason I'm looking at Cipher Mining is this news here. We talked about this in a previous video. They are doubling their hash rate. I think they currently have 6 or 7 exahash, and they are doubling that to a little over 14 with the option of tripling up and taking it up over 20, which would put them in competition with Marathon, which has the largest hash rate of any publicly traded miner. So that's pretty great. It also puts them up there with Hut and with what Bitfarms is planning to be here as well. In fact, this is basically the exact same deal for the exact same miners that Bitfarms got, which is why they're taking off exactly like Bitfarms did a few days ago. So let's have a look at Cipher Mining. So on the day, these are fair value gaps, by the way. On the day, I don't like this candle. It's hanging out there on an island all by itself. It's got a long wick on the top, a gap below it. Looks familiar to something over here, perhaps. Not as long of a wick on top, but a nice big gap there that came crashing through a few days later. As you can see, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days later? Came all the way back almost to the bottom of that move. Will that happen here? I don't know, but I don't like the looks of this candle. This volume, I like the look of the volume. It slopes up like here, you can see on the bars, and this is on the volume oscillator, it's just straight up. The RSI is at 83, so I'd want to see that cool off before I'd feel confident in this making another move up. It also has this huge fair value gap right here, big one. I mean, they don't always get filled, as you can see back here. They don't always get filled, but I don't like seeing such a big one. I feel like I want to see price at least come down into this area here around like 313. That's a lot of lines that just showed up. I don't want to see it come into 313 before I'd feel pretty good about this again moving back up. And I'd want to see what it did at 313. It could come all the way down and fill this little gap down here at 249. I would be very happy to pick it up at 249. There's a ton of resistance here for it to get stuck in and move back up from there. All right, there's a wedge forming. As you can see, this downward channel and this upward trend line, that's forming a wedge. When price breaks this wedge, it's either going to do it to the upside or the downside. And if it does it to the upside, it might get stuck here again, because honestly, it's going to follow this down a little bit. It might get stuck up here in the 385 range. It's got to break that to hit the 426, and then again at the 529. We've been seeing a series of lower highs. It started off higher lows, higher low, a little bit lower low, lower high, which is forming this wedge. When price breaks this wedge, it's going to be pretty dramatic. It's going to be a pretty intense move either up or down. If it's up, it's probably going to be up to this range here around $5. If it's down, it's probably going to come to this support here around 178. That would be the bottom of the range. It might tap it and then take off again. We'll see. But it's going to coil in here probably, or make a huge explosive move, one of the two. If it breaks 178, it's going to come down to $1. There's nothing really to catch it down here until it gets to $1. Not really, anyways. And if we look over here, this one, when it came up here, it got stuck right here. 385, right in this little pocket right there. It just kind of came up, blasted through this, kind of gapped all the way through all this resistance, and then just stopped right near the top of that move and then came back down. So that's basically resistance. This high right here, that's resistance. 394, that's resistance right now. That's what we're trying to beat on the upside. And then we failed. So that's not great. If we bring on the VWAP, let's look at anchored VWAP. This is for, I believe, a month. This is the monthly VWAP. It is a year. This is a 1 year VWAP. Let's see, 1 year VWAP. As you notice, price likes to come back to this central one here, this bright one. Comes back to it once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, 7 times. It's come back to it. I don't see any reason to believe that it wouldn't come back to it, which also kind of coincides with this upward trend line here. So I'm thinking it's going to come back down here, hit it at least, maybe bounce off, and this also goes with my coiling theory that it's going to coil inside of this wedge. And then at some point, it's either going to break down and come down to this one down here at 198, which if it goes just a little bit further, it's going to touch my 175 line down here, or it's going to shoot back up to, this third line up here around 4 something, which at some point, if it comes down, is going to go back to, at some point, it's going to be that $4 mark with this line right here. And as you can see, the second lower level of this line, of these lines down here, is down in this box around the $1 range if we start coming back down again. So that's just the VWAP outlook. I'm going to look at the Bitfarms chart real quick because Bitfarms did this exact same move just a few days ago. And if you notice, even with this one, if you notice, parabolic moves are met by destruction of the price action very swiftly after. So that could be happening again here, maybe not. If Bitcoin rockets, this is not going to care about technicals or anything. It's just going to rocket with it. Bitfarms is on the daily chart. We can see that Bitfarms did a very similar move, right? It's just several days of just rocketing up. We got a little bit of a rejection candle here. Actually, kind of a lot of it, one right there. That was a pretty good rejection candle. Actually, that's this one right here from yesterday on Monday. That's pretty bearish, actually. And the fact that we followed that up with another bearish candle that was kind of engulfing here, almost an engulfing candle. Actually, I'd call that engulfing. I feel like Bitfarms is on the way down, and that's great because I want to buy more. Anyways, we can expect it to do a move similar to this on Cipher. So if we go to Cipher, similar kind of thing, it's shooting up and it's going to start bleeding off because it got the same news. The same catalyst that caused this is causing this move in Cipher right now. It's the same catalyst. So I can only think that it's probably going to be very similar price movement. If you can see on Bitfarms, though, we got all the way to the third band up here. Cipher Mining is currently on, I think it's on band 2. It's currently on band 2. So if it's going to follow a similar trajectory, because I believe as Bitfarms does the same explosive moves, there is still significant upside here that we could see. It could come all the way up here to the $5 range, like touch this upper bar here. Now, we could see Cipher do a jump up to that line before bleeding off. That could happen. But I do believe that it is going to bleed off, just like I believe Bitfarms is doing that right now. And I actually have a picture here. This is of an earlier move on Bitfarms. And let's get it out there. Looks quite familiar, does it not? Big run up, followed by a couple of choppy days going like up, down, all around, and then with a downward preference on it. If we look at the daily volume, yeah, daily volume is coming down. RSI is coming down. It might bounce to the 50. I don't know. We'll see. But it kind of did that before falling off dramatically. And I'll show you where that is back in the chart. This is from the Bitfarms chart, and it is like almost the exact same move. It was like basing and then shot up and then kind of held in a downward slope and then dropped. Let's go find that back in the chart actually real quick. There it is. It's right here. It's right here. In November 2021, big bull run. This was when Bitcoin did its top, actually. So we did this we were basing in this area here for several weeks, then shot up, kind of held while with a downward preference, did one last little bounce, and then all the way down, gave back the entire move, almost went to the bottom of that range there before going even further down, but that's just because that was the end of the bull run. And then we went into the crypto winter from there. But I'm looking at this and seeing a pretty similar move where we're going to probably do something like this. Like that, and then eventually sort of do a sharper move and then base somewhere maybe a little bit higher than we were before. Now that brings us to the warrants. Cipher Mining warrants currently are trading for over $1. As we saw here before, 5 days, it's up almost 300%. That's insane. We can see it on, this is 1 hour, give me 1 day. See it on the daily here. Yeah, we were down at 33 cents. We shot up to $1.80. If we go back on the chart here, that's this resistance here, 180. It's here, right in there, right at the top of these wicks there. Current body of this doji candle is right at the bottom of this resistance line here down at 144. It's amazing how the charts always kind of look the same, right? We got a lot of fair value gaps up here to fill eventually. Anyways, I don't like this candle, just like the other one. I hate this candle. Hate this candle even more right here. This is very bearish. This also feels bearish. I mean, doji is indecision. Like it doesn't know if it's going to go up or down, but it has this big old indecisive candle right here with this bearish wick on top here. It's got this huge fair value gap right here. Huge. I want to see the price of this thing come down to $1 or below, preferably in between $1 and this line here at 84 cents, or get above 180, hold above 180, preferably hold above 194 in this area, make that into support, and then start moving from there, and then I'll buy it probably at the $2 range, which I miss out on a lot of profit by doing that, but I at least have confirmed the move. We are in an upward trend, by the way, right now. I do want to see it here. There's also some pretty big fair value gaps down here. Could it flash down here? It absolutely could. I mean, look what it did today. Today it went as low as 99 cents and as high as $1.80. It absolutely could flash down here for a few minutes. Let's see how long it was down there, actually. We go to 15-minute candles. How long was it down there just today? All right, today it was down at $1 once, twice. It was at $1.05, 3, 4. So these are each 15 minutes. I mean, it was never down there for very long, but it was down there 1, 2, 3, 4 times almost throughout the day. Let's get even smaller. Let's see how long this thing was down at that level. So we had at least, what, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. This is, I mean, even smaller. Let's go down to 1-minute candles. 1-minute candles. All right. So we were down here for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes out of the whole day we were down there. But we were down there long enough to make some buys if you had an order ready to execute. And I currently have an order ready to execute. I have on mine, I have an executable order for 1,000 shares at, I believe, like 75 cents or something, like right around here. Yeah, right around here, 74, 75. I think I'll raise that to 79, honestly, to be the bottom of this fair value gap. Maybe even right here at 85. I'll think about it. I'll see which one. I also have an executable order down here for 2,000 shares if it ever flashes down to 47 cents. And if it gets even lower than that, I'll be happy to pick it up there. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. I want to see it at least flash down to these ranges and then go back up. Right now, it feels very dangerous. I feel like if I put money into it right now, I'm probably going to lose it, given this scary candle here, all this empty space, like all this empty space that price is in right now. It's going to want to at least come back down here to 105 and like test the top of this range here, I would think, or it could go back up and test the bottom of this range here at 160, perhaps, but it's not going to want to stay in here. I mean, that's why we got the doji candle. Like, this is indecision. It's in no man's land right now. There's nothing holding it up or down right here. It's not at support. It's not at resistance. It's just kind of hanging out in space right now, deciding what it's going to do next with this huge wick on both sides. It can move either of these directions in a big way. And I don't like that. I don't want to invest in something that is currently doing that. I want to see it make a decision, whether that's up or down, and then allow me to decide what I'm going to do based on that movement. And right now that movement is terrible. It's just everywhere, whips on all over the place. So I want to see it come down, preferably so I can get it for less money. But if it goes up and proves that it deserves to be up there, then I'll think about it up here. And that's kind of the update there on Cipher Mining and their warrants and their comparison to Bit Farms and its price action. This was a really long one. I'm sorry for how long this was. It just kind of got out of hand there with all the things that I wanted to talk about in this particular stock. But with that said, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a profitable day.